Tonight on Joynews Prime, exchange of hefty blows at Krowa constituency halts voter registration over allegations of busing non-residents to register. 4 teacher unions converged to call on government to close down schools immediately. They described the COVID-19 situation in schools as grim and deadly. Also in this bulletin, Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo rejects claims by the minority in Parliament that to close down 3 of its 6 digital terrestrial channels.
Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram makes certain sweeping assertions which can only be from the figment of an overactive imagination.
But the minority insists the move is an interference in the work of the state broadcaster and is asking the National Media Commission to step in. And in business,
the GBC is under the Ministry of Information. We would have loved to see a directive from the sector minister.
Business.
Ghana Stock Exchange revenues dropped by 6 million cedis in 2009.
First half of this year, also equities are yet to really come to play as one would really want to see it. But the bond market has been quite super.
Vice President comes to the aid of 80-year-old woman who had both fingers. Gets a new house soon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're live on your digital terrestrial TV and on Go TV. In our very first story, Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo has rejected claims by the minority in Parliament that she erred in directing GBC to close down 3 of its 6 digital terrestrial channels. The minister, in a letter dated 26th June, to the Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, gave GBC 60 days to shut down 3 of the channels and hand over the space back to the ministry. Government says digital terrestrial platform is at its maximum capacity of 40, and the directive is to ensure there are leftovers government can use in times of emergency for national broadcast. Minority MP on the Communications Committee, Samuel George, and also MP for Ningo Pram, says the move is an interference in the work of the state broadcaster and is asking the National Media Commission to step in.
Does the Minister for Communications have the authority, the legal mandate, to instruct the GBC to shut down 3 of its channels? The GBC is not an agency under the Ministry of Communications. The GBC is under the Ministry of Information. We would have loved to see a directive from the sector minister. This is akin to the Minister for Interior writing to the Chief of Army Staff, instructing him to release military men from the 5th Infantry Battalion, when the Minister for Interior has no mandate or control over the Ghana Armed Forces. That's the Minister of Defense's remit. If the Minister for Communication did have any need for channels, the right procedure would have been to request of her colleague minister, the Minister for Information, to respond or do what she wanted to do. So we want to understand if the Minister for Information was in the know, because we see in the letter that he was copied. It was not a joint letter written by both of them. The next question we want to ask is, what is the reason for government's need? We are told that the DTT is, if you read the minister's letter, she says that the DTT is at full capacity and government does need spectrum. Well, if government needs spectrum, the ministry should rather be focused on completing the digital switchover. Because when they complete the digital switchover, you're going to have a lot of white spaces, which is additional spectrum for government to use. I mean, this is, for want of a better phrase, a lazy approach at trying to get spectrum, if really the need is spectrum. Because if the need is spectrum, everybody knows that when you do the digital switchover, you're going to get a lot of analog spaces that national security, whatever government considerations, in fact, it's going to have considerations for bandwidth in the country and speed of bandwidth. So the ministry should have rolled over or done the switchover in 2017 It's 3 years and over late, and the ministry is finding shortcuts to get spectrum. Again, we want to understand what the real need for spectrum is. Another question we want to ask the Ministry of Communications is this not another example of state capture?
But Communications Minister insists the directive is in the national interest.
I have no application, or I don't know of any application by Asase Radio, which is pending before the NCA for allocation of channels on any platform. What I am aware of is that there is a huge backlog of applications spanning from 2017 when we took over. So this is not a new occurrence, but we're faced with a pandemic, which makes it difficult for us to even complete the switchover process because of the cost implications on broadcasters. So the discussions are, what do we do to free up excess capacity? Right now, if the state has need of broadcasting urgent communication to the public, it does not have any means of doing so. If national security has need of broadcasting urgent communication to the state, to the citizens, it has no means of doing so. It is critical for us at this juncture to be faced with a process in which the only platform for broadcasting to the populace, the capacity on it, is completely used up. And so it just makes sense, without reading any ulterior motives into it, to work to create additional capacity on it in the event that that capacity is needed. Every other station apart from GBC and Crystal TV is broadcasting on one channel. Has that affected their ability to transmit their information or their knowledge to the world and the rest of the Ghanaian populace? No. They are quite capable and have been using the access that they have on the DTT channel to do their work without interference from anybody. And that cannot be the motive under which the ministry is operating. Is it possible for GBC to transmit its various program offerings more efficiently from 3 channels as against 6? We've had conversations with the Ministry of Information, who assures us that it is.
Esla Uso-Kufo is Communications Minister. Now joining us via phone is Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleimana Brima, for more on this. Good to have you on Joynews Prime. But you describe the minister's move as an interference of the state broadcaster. But how? Because she explained the platform is getting choked, and this is to allow for space.
I think that all the reasons that have been advanced by the minister, we've heard it before. I remember in 2017 when I had a meeting with a top official at the MCA. At the time, the person told me, well, all radio frequencies in Accra have been allocated. And just as the words that the minister used, if the president needs a frequency for an emergency broadcast or national security needs a frequency for an emergency broadcast, there was none available. Between then and now, we know that a number of radio frequencies have been given in Accra, and new radio stations have come up. So I think that argument is something that we've heard before, and it remains an untenable argument. I am really surprised that the minister would want to compare GBC with any of the private broadcasters that she says are operating on one channel. I think that is extremely surprising, knowing that this is somebody who certainly knows the critical role that GBC plays in terms of, bringing live events of from the presidency, from parliament, from national events, and so on and so forth. Now, having said that, it is so surprising that the minister would write such a letter, which is a directive to GBC, and completely ignore to even put on copy the National Media Commission, the body that has complete oversight over GBC, the body that appoints the governing board of GBC, and by extension, the Director General to whom the minister addressed her letter. Why would anybody think that for such a major decision to be taken by GBC, NMC would not be involved? Now, the minister says the platform is choked. It is filled up. But the question is, who filled it? When it was getting full, didn't they know? When they were approving Untumi TV as recent as April 23rd this year, didn't they know that they needed to have redundancy on the platform? GBC alone, so the national DDT platform, DTT platform, I should say, operates from 42 sites. Out of these 42, 38 of them are hosted on GBC property. So one entity, which is the enabler, making it possible for 38 out of the 42 sites to operate, then you say, we want you to reduce the number of channels that you are on, and so on and so forth. Now, which of the channels should GBC shut down? Is it the Obonu TV? Is it the Kids TV? Is it the GTV? Is it GTV News? Or which of them? And indeed, what is happening is we're not talking just about channels, because the channels are not lying fallow. These are channels that are broadcasting 24/7. So we are actually talking about a minister giving a directive to GBC to alter its content, to take down certain content, which the Constitution clearly forbids. Because if we were to allow this to happen, the next time somebody will write and say, GTV, we don't want you to do this program. We want you to rather be doing this program, and so on and so forth, which is a clear affront to what the Constitution prescribes in terms of insulation of the state broadcaster from governmental interference and governmental control.
Mr. Brima, you talk about the Constitution, and that's why you describe her action as illegal and untenable. You say you want the NMC to take action, and some say the NMC hasn't been vibrant in the past few years. What would Media Foundation for West Africa do in the event that the NMC does not live up to your expectation?
Well, I think that first of all, we should give the NMC the benefit of the doubt. I think that if the NMC allows this to happen, I would not see, the need for us to have an entity called the NMC anymore. I would not see the relevance of that entity called the NMC. When there is a clear infraction, there is a clear attempt to command and control the national broadcaster, that the NMC has a responsibility to ensure that it is insulated from governmental control. But perhaps we should say that let's cross the bridge when we get there. I don't foresee the NMC sitting down for the minister to bully her way to becoming the one who decides that the GBC can operate on 3 channels, and that the Minister for Information, she had conversation with the Minister for Information, and the Minister for Information said it is possible. Since when did ministers become the persons who determine what goes on GTV and what doesn't go on GTV?
So we need to...
It's a national asset, and we must preserve it as it is.
So we need to wait and see what comes out from the National Media Commission. I'm grateful for your time. Suleimana Ibrahima is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Now, welcome back to Joynews Prime Now. On your election headquarters, we're going straight to Krowa constituency, where voter registration in the Krowa constituency was suspended for about 30 minutes and COVID-19 health protocols disregarded after a scuffle broke out between some applicants who had come to register at one of the registration centers. It is still unclear what caused the fight, but some persons involved in open brow alleged the busing of non-residents to the registration center. Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
Voter registration here in the Krowa constituency has been largely smooth, with residents going about registering without any technical hitches. A lot of them also we found heeding to the COVID-19 protocol. Sometimes though, the social distancing becomes a challenge. But at one of the registration centers, we witnessed what was can best be described as a free-for-all fight between some of the applicants who had come there to register. Well, the mystery of this whole fight is that we do not know the genesis of the fight. Even the police officers who are there to maintain law and order do not know the cause of that disagreement, which resulted in a free-for-all fight, a serious scuffle that had to take police intervention to separate. We've been speaking to the commander, Nungwa commander. He's been explaining to us, trying to help us get a sense of the disagreements that we saw.
I will not say I have any idea. All we heard was that there was a scuffle here. And that's why we came here to maintain peace. And that's what we've done. Yes, my officers on the ground, they were basically ensuring that the process goes on successfully. And so what happened outside, they will not be able to tell us what happened outside. If it happened on the registration tables, of course, they were there to see anything. But this happened outside, so they have no idea what actually happened outside. But as the MCE said, it was a scuffle between...
Yeah, but we saw the fact. We saw people throwing punches and all of that.
Okay, we didn't see that.
To the extent that some of your men had to leave the scene because it looked quite dangerous.
With my men, so there was nothing like our men left the scene. I came with them. We didn't see the free-for-all fight, but what we know for sure is that there were skirmishes here. But the good news is that order has been restored, and the process is ongoing.
Yeah, but we want to know what caused, the fight.
That's why I was telling you that give us time, because you can't stand in the middle of the problem and be assigning reasons. Okay, when calm is restored, we will find out. We will investigate to find out what is the cause, what caused the skirmishes. Okay, there are enough policemen here. I am here myself. We will make sure that order is followed to the letter.
Well, the MCE for the area says that the people who were engaged in that scuffle, in that fight, are actually brothers. And once in a while, there's disagreements, and that's how best they resolve it.
No, what they are doing is that they allow people to come in when there are spaces on the chairs. That is what the police does. But I think when we were coming in, some people forced their way into the system, and that is what caused all the skirmishes.
Grim and deadly, that's the description given by 4 teacher unions for the continuous stay of students on campuses at the various schools. The pre-tertiary unions, NAT, Nagrat, Tewu and Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana are asking government to close down schools in the wake of the spread of COVID-19 cases in senior high schools. The National Council of PTA and Catholic Bishop Conference have called for the suspension of WASI and BECE following the spike in COVID-19 cases in SHS. In a statement issued, it's read, the situation is really grim and deadly. This is what the country finds itself in at the moment. This notwithstanding, the Electoral Commission has intruded into schools allegedly to register the students for the 2020 general elections, thus breaching the protocols the more and making more infestations open. Our children are the prey, the target. Our children are on the receiving end. While such critical bodies as the Ministry of Finance, the Bulk Oil Storage and Transport Company, BOST, the Ghana Great Company, Great Co, and the Ghana Cocoa Board, among others, are either on partial or total lockdown. In the light of the above, we, the pre-tertiary teacher unions, NAT, Nagrat, Tewu, CCT, Ghana, have no option than to ask that schools be closed down. For how long can we stand and look while our children are consigned to imminent death? Our children are our future, and we must protect them. Nigeria has postponed final examination Israel has shut down its schools again after they opened and the pandemic started eating its students up. So Ghana can also do it expeditiously. We should remember a stitch in time saves 9. But Health Minister Kwabena says these cases are as a result of congestion in some senior high schools. At a tour of some health facilities in the Ashanti region recently, he stated closing down the schools will be a cowardice way of responding to the challenge.
Why is nobody asking us to close down the universities? Junior high school started 2 weeks now. They go home and come to school. Why are we not closing those ones? The senior high schools, I must say there are problems in some areas, but the percentage of where we have challenges wouldn't call for us to close down the schools. We have been saying over and over and over again that we must learn to live with the disease. So the problem is not going back home. Else what we'll have done? That means that we'll close down schools for how long? Nobody knows when this is going to go away. So we won't run senior high schools in this country any longer. So we have to confront the challenge. What we are hearing after investigation is that some of the schools that are getting infections are a bit congested. And we are looking at alternatives as to whether we can decongest the schools, send some of the schools to some other schools that have space and things like that. This is being done together with the Ghana Education Service and Ghana Health Service. So we find solutions to the challenges.
We've been joined on the line by Mark Crunching, who is General Secretary of the Teachers and Education Workers Union, TEU. Mark, I'm grateful that you joined us on Joynews Prime. But the Minister for Health, who speaks on behalf of government, says closing down the schools is not one of the options government is considering. Is there no other way to deal with this situation? At least you've been in the schools and you know how the situation is. Is there no other way?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Mark Cruncher, you're on Joynews Prime.
Thank you very much. And maybe a little correction. My position is the Acting General Secretary of State.
Great.
Yes. So, yes, we know that the situation is interesting at the day, and the cases that we are getting is putting every parent and even the teachers and educational workers in some kind of fear. And that is why we think that, look, let us ask the children to go home and we take a critical look at the situation and see how we can contain the spread. If that measures or these measures are put in place, then we can look forward to see how we can think about them coming to exams and what have you. But as it is now, parents are anxious, the students are tense, teachers, the education worker, the non-teaching staff are also not safe. So we put in the lives of all these people in some kind of fear and panic. So the way out would be for us to say, let us close the schools down. Let us now see how we can curtail the spread. Then you see, when we were going to open school, we tend to say that, look, the manner in which the spread is going, now it is spreading within the community. So let us not joke with it and say, let's bring our kids. We are giving all the assurance that spacing, decongestion, and all that will be done. But what do we see in the schools now? It is not the same. We said they will be provided with certain facilities. Those facilities are not coming. Now, do we still say that? Let's keep our children there and they getting the virus or contracting the virus. So we are worried. We are worried. The teacher unions are worried. We are worried, one, for the children. We are worried, one, for the staff. That is teachers and non-teaching as well. And that is why we think that we must give this advice of the consider.
As it stands, Mark, government has not shown any willingness to close down the schools. And you earlier warned that you will bow out if you realize the environment is not safe for you anymore. Would you bow out like you threatened if government decides not to close the schools?
Well, it's an advice we have given for now. Next week, definitely we will meet again and review the situation and our position. So if we review and we think that we will get back.
I'm grateful for your time. Mark Kwanche is a acting General Secretary of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU. Still to come in this bulletin, Love News is learning that the circumstances leading to the death of a student at the KNUST SHS is being investigated by two parallel committees. I will be joined shortly by our correspondent in Kumasi, and for more after this break.
Got one each.
All right, before we go on that break, let's get straight to the Ashanti region and speak with Erastus Asaridonko, who filed that report and also has been monitoring. Erastus, you've been monitoring events, and what can you tell us about this new development?
So we do know now that the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, inaugurated the three-member committee on Monday in line with the Local Government Act, which gives the Regional Coordinating Council oversight responsibility over second cycle educational institutions. Now, this one is chaired by Justice Obin Diewu. He is a High Court judge. Other members include the Regional BNI Commander, David Edusei, and a former headmaster for TIMAS Senior High School, Mr. Yusuf Ajari. Now, the other committee is the one that was inaugurated by the Regional Director of Education, Mary Owusu-Echao, and that has also been sitting since Monday and is chaired by Professor Samson Kofi Ampon, who is a board member of the school as well. So since Monday, the interdicted headmistress of the school, Felicia Asamoah Dankwa, and the senior housemaster, Seth Owusu-Ansah, and one housemaster, Mr. Awotwe, has been appearing before the committee. Today, we had Eric Edusei, a tutor of the school, who we know administered an ulcer drug to the deceased as first aid, appeared before the committee, and he confirmed that indeed he gave the student a drug as first aid. He mentioned the name of the drug, which I cannot say on live TV, and the municipal health director confirmed that yes, that is an ulcer drug, and so he had a share of the committee sitting today. The matron of the school also appeared before the committee today, plus the accountant of the school, One Perpetua Ahiawu, who ended the day today. Sitting continues tomorrow.
Well, that's Erastus Asaridonko with Love FM in Kumasi, and he says sitting continues tomorrow. That means we'll bring you some updates tomorrow from that meeting. We'll break for business, but still to come, a 21-year-old student of German Senior High School in TAKORADI is also dead. We'll bring you those details after the break.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrea Sinamap and welcome to Business. Inflation rate for the month of June has declined marginally. It stands at 11.2%, slightly down from 11.3% recorded in May this year. Government statistician Professor Kwabena attributes the decline to movements in food prices, mortgage and electricity.
Rent charges, electricity and food recorded price changes that contributed significantly to the new inflation rate, according to the Ghana Statistical Services. Even though year-on-year inflation 11.2% is still higher compared to pre-COVID-19 inflation, month-on-month inflation 1% and month-on-month food inflation 0.1% are lower than the previous 2 months. This indicates that prices did continue to rise, but not as much as the previous 2 months. Overall, regions with high month-on-month inflation between April and May 2020 saw lower month-on-month inflation this month, and vice versa.
For year-on-year inflation overall, housing, water, and electricity continue to drive inflation, and from a food inflation perspective, we see vegetables, fruits, and other seafood driving food inflation within the Greater Accra region, which recorded 13 percentage points as food inflation and 15 percentage points as overall inflation. Year-on-year inflation, specifically between June 2019 and June 2020, inflation rate was 11.2%. For the same year-on-year inflation for the month of May 2020, we recorded a change of 11.3%.
Meanwhile, the core inflation rate for the period stood at 8.8%, meaning that, but for COVID-19, Ghana's inflation rate for the month of June would have been 8.8%, Professor Ainin explains.
We try to do is to identify commodities, items that are prone to sudden changes on a month-on-month basis, and we try to do the calculation minus these items. So there are some food items that, as a result of COVID-19, as I said, saw some huge variations over the period. So we took all those items out, took energy out, took utility out, and computed inflation minus these items.
In all but Greater Accra, Northern Region and Upper East, food inflation was higher than non-food inflation.
The Ghana Stock Exchange GSE has recorded a 6 million cedi reduction in revenue for the year 2019 financial year as compared with the previous year. The performance is attributed to apprehension among some investors over the future of the exchange. At a virtual annual general meeting of the GSE, chairman of the board, Albert Asian, said the cleanup exercise by the Securities and Exchange Commission played a key role. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Stock Exchange reported a revenue of about 27 million cedis, a marginal decline from the 2018 performance of 32 million cedis. Total income of the year stood at 8.4 million cedis, while that of 2018 stood at 11.9 million cedis. Speaking to Joy Business, chairman of the board, Albert Asian, believes the market will perform better by the end of the year.
Investors are a bit, they are careful. It's the right attitude. You know, you need to be risk conscious. So that is what happened to investors. Also, equities are yet to really come to play as one would really want to see it. But the bond market has been quite super. So the exchange has done better January 2020 to June 2020. And all being well, they should do better.
Managing Director of the Exchange, Kwabena, has been speaking to Joy Business about some prospects of the year.
We are likely to have some issuers of bonds coming onto the market before the end of the year. We'll have about 3. We're likely to have a company listed on the GATS, maybe another one on the main market. So minimum maybe 2 listings plus on the equity side, and maybe 3-4 on the bond side, which will be quite okay for the environment we live in now. But going forward, we're going to be more aggressive, and we're going to pursue the agenda of getting more listings on the market.
Market turnover in 2019 was, however, higher than the previous year due to some extraordinary trading on the Bourse.
In more news tonight, the establishment of an independent tax appeals board to cost government 2.5 million cedis in the first year. More in the business news summary.
The establishment of an independent tax appeals board under the Revenue Administration Amendments Bill 2020 to hear and determine appeals against tax decisions made by the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority is estimated to cost government 2.5 million Ghana cedis for the first year, a parliamentary report has noted. The government has proposed the introduction of an alternative dispute resolution mechanism to resolve tax disputes. Local pharmaceutical manufacturers and other major industry players have halted credit deals with some regional medical stores and service providers over government's failure to pay for the supply since December 2019. The group now operates a cash and carry system, but also transacts business with clients who can provide bank guarantees for purchases. The National Labour Commission has stepped in to settle the impasse between the Forum for Public Sector Registered Pension Schemes, made up of public sector workers, and the Social Security and National Insurance Trust NIT over low pensions and past credit. The Commission has therefore called all the various parties for an amicable settlement of the standoff between the two that is likely to result in the biggest ever industrial action.
Grateful for your time. I have more business news updates after 8 p.m. Thanks for watching.
It's time now for Showbiz, and Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. How you doing?
Becky, you look good in the mask.
Thank you. We have to live with the virus.
I love you, Becky.
So we're working towards it. I love it. Aisha, let's talk about Nick Cannon. Something, this is fresh coming from on CNN. Viacom, CBS is ending a decades-long relationship with Nick Cannon after he recently made an anti-Semitic comment on his podcast. The actor and TV host was joined by controversial hip-hop figure Professor Grift on a recent episode of the Cannon's Class podcast, where he turned to black people as the, quote, true Hebrews, and included anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Viacom CBS announced Tuesday that it was cutting ties with Cannon. Yeah, so, but Cannon also on Monday posted a series of tweets about the controversy, writing, "Anyone who works or knows me, that I have no hate in my heart nor malice intention." So basically that's news coming in.
It's all about Viacom versus Cannon.
Yes.
It's really bad. I wish it never happened, but hey, I'm sure they will find a way around it.
I think people should just watch how they talk, basically, moving forward. But let's talk about Kwame Eugene. You know, Dope
Has
Nation.
he taken off the dreadlocks?
No, I'm not sure he's going to take it. He hasn't decided yet. But he says that he's happy for Dope Nation for leaving Lynx Entertainment, and a lot of people didn't understand that.
Okay.
Let's listen to Kwame Eugene.
They're two matured folks.
Wow.
They joined Lynx Entertainment, and I believe their time is over. Yeah, that one Richie should answer. I don't know. I think, I mean, there's time for everything. If this is the time for them to leave, and they've been able to muster courage to be on their own, may God help them. And I'm so happy for them. Do you get it? And just say, I mean, the world is ending or anything. I'm so happy for them. And I'm glad that now what will be shared among 4 boys will be shared among 2 boys.
I know that.
Yes, we know that you wish what's his
Dope
name?
Nation.
Dope Nation well, but still we don't want the dreadlocks. We beg.
Shame. Okay, I think I have to call him and tell him that you don't like the dreadlocks.
Yes,
so
please.
Take it off.
I like you like that, no. But what about Kinaisoba?
Yeah, Shigina. When was the last time you heard from him?
K.
Yeah.
But Zoe.
He's on Spotlight today.
For put 100,000 down
tomorrow morning. We go come and call it. I actually said that Kinaisoba is a young musician. He was looking so cute when I was working on the thing.
Thank you, won't kill me.
We love
Kinaisoba is young.
He's so cute.
Oh my
you don't agree with me?
Come and give me 200,000. Thanks so much for bringing us Showbiz.
Anytime.
And for those of you watching on Joy Prime, that'll be it. The news continues on Joynews. Let's do more on COVID-19 because Ghana has recorded a total of 264 new COVID-19 cases. The new cases were discovered in samples taken from the period of 23rd June to 10th July 2020, but reported from the lab on July 11. Active cases stand at 3,716 and total case count at 25,252. Recoveries and discharge figures now stand at 21,397. The coronavirus has claimed 139 lives 8 people are in critical condition, 4 on ventilators, and 25 of the cases are severe. And here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, a clinical pharmacist has revealed some of her colleagues, for fear of contracting COVID-19, withdrew their services over the lack of personal protective equipment. According to Mami Rabnansa, health workers there felt unsafe and had to abandon some wards at the hospital. On hashtag Save the Health Worker campaign, championed by Joynews, Henry Kwesi spoke to the pharmacists who blamed the situation on lack of PPEs.
As a clinical pharmacist, we work hand in hand with the doctors on the various wards. So virtually have some of my colleagues at the emergency and the various medical wards. And we realized that during the COVID-19 times, there were times when people come into the ward, you are not too sure their status, and by the time you realize the person has turned positive. So we realized that if we are not, at that time, we were not getting enough of the PPEs. So it was a bit scary knowing that you are exposed to patients and you are not really protected. So that was our main challenge. So in the beginnings, we had to slow down on some of our services because we had to make sure we are properly protected before we can go back working on the wards and all that. So that has been our main challenge with our work. Yes. I think currently we are still struggling a bit. For my colleagues who are at the main COVID center, that one it's a bit easier for them to get it. But for those on the general wards, there's still been a challenge on getting the PPEs you need to actually work on the various wards. So it's still not readily available for all the pharmacists. Yes, yes. Oh, there was a time because some of my colleagues would come and complain to me that I go here, everybody, the doctor is in the gown, and I'm the only one in my normal lab coat going. Eventually it's quite scary. Yeah, so we had to more, like I said, as I said, withdraw a bit and see what we can do at a distance, because if I get very close and I get infected, I'm going to infect every other person in the pharmacy. So we had to readjust when it comes to some of our services. But as I said, with this donation, it's going to help us to go back confidently. Yes, confidently back to do most of the work we are doing. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much.
Join the hashtag Save the Health Worker now. And don't forget, this is being championed by Joynews and the Multimedia Group. Now, health authorities have secured a facility for setting up the biggest COVID-19 treatment center so far in the Ashanti region. The 115-bed capacity facility at Swase in the Ekrimangwa-Bieja municipality comes with intensive care units and staff accommodation. The facility was made available by Environment Minister Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng. Health Minister Kwabena is excited about the development. He told journalists the location of the center makes it accessible even to patients from Ahafubono, Western North and other regions. My colleague, Ohiminteri of our health desk, has more in the following report.
Ashanti region has become an epicenter of COVID-19, with confirmed cases jumping from 543 in May to 5,259 currently. The region has recorded 58 COVID-19 deaths, the highest in any region. The situation has compelled health authorities to convert some hospitals under construction into temporary treatment centers. Centers at Komfanoche and Kumasi South hospitals are overstretched. Authorities anticipate the region could see an upsurge in cases, hence the need to secure the new treatment centers. Health Minister Kwaku Ajimemenu says the Frimpong-Boateng Medical Center comes in handy as the latest addition.
One of us who has turned himself to be a philanthropist, sort of, has donated his own personal clinic for use. We have done some work in here, and the director in the Ashanti region who is championing this, and the Ghana Health Service Director General, together with the Komfanoche Chief Executive, joined me to come and see Professor Frimpong-Boateng's clinic that he has donated to us. We have wards that can take total about 90 beds. We have an ICU that can take a number of patients, close to 15, and we can even create more. We have some little staff accommodation for the doctors who come and work here. We have identified doctors, staff have been trained, so this place is going to come on board to add on to what we have in the Ashanti region as quickly as possible. There are regions very close to Ashanti region. Oti, Ahafo, Bono East. These are areas where Western North, we can bring patients from to this place. And I believe we will not get that upstage. But Accra and Ashanti have become areas, epicenters in the country, and therefore we have to prepare adequately for any eventuality.
The new center will be run by Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. Chief Executive Dr. Ohineba Owusu-Danso describes it as a welcome relief.
Komfanochi have been forced to actually expand our treatment center. As I speak, the entire expanded holding area and then the treatment area expanded are all full. It's the reason why we have advised government through the regional minister, through the health ministry, for us to identify some facility outside Komfanochi, which is well isolated, so that we can assist with the kind of scale and personnel we have to also manage those centers and take care of those who are moderately ill. But going forward, we think that those who are critically ill, once we do this kind of arrangement, it will open up space for us to look at those who are critically ill and those who are severely ill, until such a time that we are compelled to also scale up the care for the critically ill outside Komfanochi. But we are hopeful that given what we are beginning to see now, if we continue to adhere to the protocols, we should begin to see our numbers to decline.
From Kumasi, for Joynews, Oimitiria reporting.
The Peace Council is in the Banda district on the fact-finding mission after the clashes involving the NPP and NDC in the ongoing voter registration exercise. 28-year-old Silas Wolanchame died Tuesday morning after he was stabbed in the back to death at Kabrono near Banda in the Bono region. The fresh graduate from the Akimodan Teacher Training College was allegedly accosted by some NPP thugs at a barricade at Kabrono Monday while returning from a visit to his pastor at Wenchi Methodist. The Bono Regional Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, Swala Abdallah Kwanda, says they are meeting the leadership of both NDC and the NPP with expectations of facilitating peace among the factions.
We are to ensure that peace prevails in all communities. Where peace is being breached, we have a responsibility by our mandate to see how best we can facilitate dialogue between and among the parties in conflict to make sure that we have a peace. 3 days ago, we all heard what happened in Banda constituency in respect to some conflict that has even led to the loss of life and some other people being wounded. We are here this morning, first and foremost, to find out for ourselves what really went wrong and then what will be the way forward. If you look at peace building is such that is something we call conflict mapping. When there's a breach of peace or something happens, the first thing you have to do is to understand the situation and to know what really happened. So we are here to do some form of data gathering to find out from stakeholders, identify the stakeholders, the actors, and then maybe get information about what really happened, after which we will sit down and then do some analysis of the conflicts, and then that will inform our strategies in how to deal with the conflict. So we are here basically to identify stakeholders, talk to them, get information from them to enable us or to inform our decisions as how to proceed in getting the issues resolved.
Mr. Swala says there seems to be tension underneath what appears to be a calm situation in Banda.
Observation tells me that there is relative calm. That notwithstanding, there is also a bit of tense, and then there's some form of panic. Residents and people of Banda, especially Ahinkru as we are now, are not happy about what is going on. Some of them are afraid. People, I went around some registration centers. I've seen the centers are empty. Some interviews that I've made to some residents, like some people feel that they will be attacked because there is insecurity. So the place is tense. The place, people are, there's a panic and what have you. So that is the impression that I have.
Meanwhile, the Banda District Chief Executive Mary Akoni says security has been beefed up, especially in Banda, Kabrono and Bongase, while efforts is being made to find lasting solution to the clashes. She, however, encouraged residents and protective voter registrants to go about their normal activities.
To say they are hotel near Sunday about Banamemo, yeah, that's why I saw no.
Peace has returned to Banda. Security personnel have been deployed to Banda, thanks to President Akufo-Addo and the regional minister.
Security ababana amasunye mapa ewo bana enti mesre bana for mo asro ne ho akam.
I am appealing to all residents of Banda who are yet to register to do so without fear. I will also use this platform to sympathize with the bereaved family. We also pray for God's healing for all those who were injured in yesterday's violence.
The family of 28-year-old Silas Wolanchame in Banda in the Bono region is appealing, however, to well-meaning Ghanaians to help them seek justice for their son. The family could not control their tears during a meeting with the Bono regional chairman of the NDC and the member of parliament for Banda, Ahmed Ibrahim, at the family house in Banda. Late Silas's father, Ofosuji Abo, says retaliation is not the answer to the death of his son, but the law taking its course on the perpetrators.
Right now, Apolano, the new act of more and so far as our pathologists know any
The corpse of our child has already been deposited at the morgue. Until the pathologists complete their work, the family cannot fix a date for the burial. We are appealing to the public and the various security agencies to assist in apprehending the culprits. I'll advise residents of Banda to calm down and allow peace to reign. We need peace for the development of the country.
A 21-year-old student of the Draman Senior High School has died today under strange circumstances in the western regional town of TAKORADI. Nathaniel Yankee is said to have been rushed home when he started committing and dead on admission at the Sikado Hospital near Sekendi. Health workers at the hospital are yet to conduct a post-mortem to establish the cause of death, but mother of the boy, Mena Ajua Eson, who is yet to come to terms with her loss, claims negligence by school authorities may have caused her son's death. Joining me for more on this is Inathalia Kwanza, who is our correspondent in the Western region. Inathalia, kindly tell us, do we know what caused the death of this young man?
Aisha, for now, we don't know what caused the death because just like we had the mother say, he said over the weekend his son had called her that he wasn't feeling well. According to the son, his friends took him to the hospital instead of teachers, which she did complain about. And from the son, they gave him paracetamol and other drugs, and then she was asked to send 150 to the son to pay his bills because his national health insurance wasn't working as at that time. He said over the weekend, she kept on telling the boy to come home, but he said the teachers had refused to allow him come home. Whenever he went to them that he wanted to come home, they told him that he should continue taking the medication from the hospital. So yesterday, the boy called the mother that he's not going to take Exiat, but he's coming home. He's not telling anyone in the school that he's coming home because he feels so weak. Upon arrival at Escado, his mother sells just around the Escado government hospital. So according to the mother, when the boy got to where she sells, the boy was so weak in the taxi that he came with. So he had to get assistance from people to carry him. When they took him to the Escado hospital, immediately they gave him oxygen. And then the doctors informed the mother that they would have to keep the boy somewhere for 5 days so that they could monitor the situation. And so this dawn, she had sent some people to send soap for the boy to take a shower, only for them to tell her that they've lost the son. But according to her, too, before the son died, the doctors showed her a vomit from the boy which contained blood. So that's why the doctor said they would need to do a postmortem before they could establish exactly what caused the death of the boy. But the mother still insists that the teachers could have done better. She said from yesterday when the boy came home, no teacher had called him till this morning when a class teacher called and said he had not seen the boy in class. And she's just blaming the teachers for this. She felt that on Saturday they could have taken the boy to the hospital. They could have even brought him to her when they saw that the condition was getting worse.
Has there been any communication from the school authorities?
From the mother that I spoke to, she said no one, except the teacher who called to find out that what is happening. And yes, Aisha, he also said the headmaster called, and the headmaster was like, after all, there are over 1,000 students, so he can't keep an eye on every student. But I have personally not spoken to the school authorities. I know if I do, the best thing they would tell me is that I should get to GES Western Region, because apparently most of the head teachers here in the Western Region do not speak to journalists when we go to them. They would always direct you to GES. So tomorrow I will go to GES and then try and see if I can get something from the PRO or the education director here in the Western Region.
Inathalia Kwanzaa is our correspondent in the Western Region. We'll keep our eye on the story. Stay on the Joynews channel. We'll bring you all the details. But the quantity of PPE supplied to schools have come into question as claims about the quantity and quality supplied does not reflect the reality in various schools in the Oche region. Joynews checks in some schools reveal that basic schools continue to grapple with insufficient PPEs 3 weeks after schools have reopened for academic work. Some schools would have to improvise due to non-supply of complementing components to the PPE, especially the Veronica buckets. Correspondent Peter Senu has been doing some checks and has more in the following report.
A visit to at least a district, 4 basic schools, and checks from other schools in various districts across the region revealed that both private and public basic schools continue to grapple with insufficient PPEs. For the face masks, students have at least 2 each. Just a few of them, for one reason or the other, have 1 each. Some of them have been speaking to Joynews. Deku Godwin and Rabiu Sharif are students at the Roman Catholic Junior High School in Kejebi.
Anytime I close from school, when I went home, I wash it and then put it on the line. When it's dried, I iron it nicely and put it back in my bag.
But the weather now is very bad. Does it get dry properly before you wear it every morning?
Not always.
Not always.
So I iron it for it to dry well.
Before you use it?
Yes. But I think they should help us so that they will give us another one, so that we'll add it to at least 2.
The government gave us 1 and it is not enough for us for use. That's why sometimes you see that we have been using 1. So we are just there. So we need government to provide new ones for us so that it can be help us for our face. Because yesterday I wear it and I wash it dry, so I didn't wear it today.
Some teachers also share their concerns. George Atara is a teacher at the RC Junior High School.
Now the weather is bad, and for that reason, we need to wash our nose bags because we don't have enough of them. Each teacher on this staff is having only 1 for now. So after school, you need to wash it and then dry it. Make sure you wear it to school the following morning. The weather is bad. You can't, at times it doesn't dry. So we are calling on people in authority to maybe supply us up to the 3 that we have been promised. Apart from that, the sanitizers, the rate at which they are going. For instance, I was using my personal one before we were supplied with this. I started using this one only on Monday, because when you're marking the exercise books, after marking 1 or 2, you need to sanitize because we didn't know whether they are infected or not. If we have more, I think it will do us good.
It is the same state of affairs in other schools as teachers and students continue to depend on improvised hand-washing setups that do not serve the large numbers. This often leads to crowding during break periods just because the containers provided did not come with the appropriate fitting taps and those on the open market do not fit properly. We are told this is a regional challenge. Francis Nogbeji is a headmaster for the Roman Catholic Basic School in KJB.
Some children are having one while others have two.
How come that?
They said they are not enough. They will be bringing us more.
Who said they are not enough?
It is from the directorate. The Veronica buckets were supplied, the liquid soap were also given, but the Veronica buckets are without tap. So currently we are using the tippy tap, awaiting the taps to come.
So considering that and then the number of students you are handling, is this serving the number?
It is not serving the number. Right now we are looking for another gallon to mount another one, another additional tippy tap. It is not okay, but in the absence of the doubt, that is what we have now. So that's the best we are using.
Joynews can confirm that some additional quantities of face masks have been received by district directorates for distribution. Peter Senu for Joynews.
We're still live on Joynews Prime. Remember, we are on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air. We'll be back shortly with more.
Again, in time now to do more business. Cabinet has approved the establishment of an Accident Investigations and Prevention Bureau by the Aviation Ministry as part of efforts to ensure air safety in Ghana. Speaking at the inauguration of the National Aviation Safety Coordination Group, Sector Minister Joseph Kofi Addo explained the Bureau will have the independent mandate to investigate accidents.
The COVID-19 pandemic has plunged the airline industry into an unprecedented crisis, and revenues are tanking. Despite these shocks, safety is paramount for players as they work to keep the industry afloat. Ghana in September last year obtained Africa's highest score in aviation safety oversight. Minister of Aviation Joseph Kofi Addo says the establishment of the Independent Accident Investigation Bureau is another important step in ensuring improved safety and security in the aviation sector.
The Ministry has received approval from Cabinet for the establishment of the Accident Investigation and Prevention Bureau. And accordingly, the Ministry is working in collaboration with the Attorney General, the Ministry of Justice, as well as other state actors in finalizing a bill which has now been laid in Parliament for consideration. And from here, we're going to have a committee meeting and a certificate of agency to see if we can pass this in the next 2 weeks.
At the inauguration of the National Aviation Safety Coordination Group, Inspector General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Engineer Charles Kraku, called for more collaboration with other stakeholders for a safer airspace.
Until the outbreak of COVID-19, air transport supported nearly 6.2 million jobs and generated $55.8 billion in GDP of Africa. The African aviation market is one of the world's most promising in terms of its overall growth potential. This is because of a growing industrial sector and the continent's population of 1.3 billion that is set to further increase. These trends are positive, but they underscore the importance of continued ICAO compliance.
The National Aviation Safety Coordination is also tasked to ensure safety on the seas. Stakeholders inducted into the group include the National Communications Authority, Environmental Protection Agency, Ghana Air Force, and the Ghana Nuclear Atomic Agency. The group will be given a legal mandate to function under a certificate of agency expected to be passed by Parliament.
And we have some news just coming in, and the Council of the Ghana Stock Exchange has appointed Ms. Kwabena Amwa as the Deputy Managing Director of the exchange. She will be responsible for the operational activities of the exchange, namely trading and surveillance, listing and new products, the Ghana fixed income market, and the IT system of the exchange, as well as help the managing director in defining and implementing the exchange corporate strategies and plans, among other responsibilities. Ms. Amwa is an accomplished investment banker and capital market expert who has led on so many land bank transactions for more than 20 years. She has served on board of companies publicly listed, private and non-profit such as Access Bank PLC, African Women's Development Fund, Ghana Stock Exchange, Ghana Petroleum Funds, Cosmos Energy, among others. She has been an advisor to the government of Ghana and financial sector regulators in West Africa. And in more news tonight, the staff of the Ghana Cocoa Board have returned to work after a 3-day closure. On Friday, July 10, Cocoa Board announced a shutdown of the Cocoa House and head office of its subsidiaries and divisions in Accra for a fumigation exercise. The move was after some of its staff tested positive for the coronavirus. According to the board, all their offices are back in operations and has cautioned all staffs and customers to observe the necessary protocols at all times, particularly at the time that Ghana is working to overcome the coronavirus pandemic.
For cocoa purchase last year, this may
their made in Ghana car into the market this year is on as Japan Motors, producers of Nissan vehicles, is the latest to join. The company has acquired a 6-acre land at Tema for the assembling of vehicles. It's, however, most unlikely none of the car companies will make the 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. The managing director of Nissan has been speaking to Joy Business.
What's going to happen with this for new vehicles? The assembled vehicle, locally assembled, will be cheaper than a new vehicle imported. There'll be a price differential. Okay, so it will be cheaper to buy assembled in Ghana vehicle. So the saving in duty and tax will pay for two things. One is the extra costs the assembler is to produce his car, and a difference, a lower price, which we pass on to the consumer.
Up next is the commodity news update. For business tonight, I'm Sandra Esinama. Can you log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business news updates? Please stay home, stay safe, and stay beautiful.
Welcome back to Joynews Prime. Now, United Bank for Africa Limited has developed an innovative way of banking through WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. The Leo, which is Ghana's first virtual banker, is a chat box which allows customers to have access to the services of the bank without visiting the banking premises. The world is changing very fast, and physical contact is becoming a thing of the past, particularly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, joining me in the studio for more on this is Hans Sian. He's head of digital banking support from UBA. Hans, I want you to tell me what the UBA Leo is all about.
So UBA Leo is a chat banking and artificially intelligent AI. It allows you to perform banking transactions from social media platforms, namely WhatsApp and Facebook.
Yep.
So your regular banking transactions, such as you would want to check your balance, pay your DSTV bill, send mobile money to someone, you can perform this while inside your social media application. If you're chatting with someone, you need to send them money, you don't need to leave and go to your mobile app or log into your internet banking on another browser or another device.
You can do that
right from your chat application.
On WhatsApp.
Right.
Oh, wow. So who and who can make use or can benefit from this app?
Virtually anybody who has a social media account. If you have a Facebook account, if you have a WhatsApp account, you can register for Leo. You can open an account with UBA once you've gone through the KYC process. And if you already are a UBA customer, then bravo, you just need your debit card or a secure pass to generate a token and use that to register. Link it to your account, create a PIN, and you can begin transacting.
I mean, for the viewer at home, I think you should demonstrate how this whole thing works.
Right, sure.
So I think we should do that right now. And of course, I would also want you to tell me if a person doesn't save with UBA, can the person still also log on to this Leo you're talking about?
If you do not save with UBA yet, you can open an account with UBA. You can still engage Leo. Just say hello, say hi. You can even say Charlie. You can say you. He will respond to you, and then you can start a conversation, and he will tell you who he is, what he can do, and how you can interact.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, let's see how it works.
So this is the WhatsApp version of Leo. Also, a point to note, you will notice there's a green tick up here. That means it's verified.
Okay.
So our chat banking applications are verified. And so you will see a green tick for WhatsApp and a blue tick for Facebook Messenger.
Okay. So if you don't see these two things, it means that it's not the UBA chat banking.
You are not talking to Leo.
Okay.
It means someone has...
So WhatsApp is green and Facebook is blue.
Exactly.
Good.
You see a blue tick.
Great.
Now, with Leo, you can just send them hello. Just send them or hi.
Okay.
Right.
So you've sent hello to Leo.
So now he says, hello Hans, welcome back. How may I help you today? So there are so many options. There's check balance. You can open an account. I can pay my DSTV bills right from here.
Okay.
I can generate a statement. I can go to bank services and check out which branches are close to me. So for purpose of demonstration, say, Aisha, I want to send you some airtime.
Okay.
We will go to C, airtime top up. Okay, and then we will select D. You can save beneficiaries, so I already have some saved beneficiaries here. You can go to D and select new number.
Okay, that is if you don't have that number saved or something like that.
And then we'll enter the number, your number. Now, it's also good to mention, Leo, it's artificial intelligence. So the more you do certain types of transactions, it starts learning your behavior.
Okay.
So you come in and it tells you that, okay, are you trying to buy this amount of airtime for this person again? Or you are trying to do this transaction because it knows that you maybe every beginning of the month you pay your DSTV bill. Or every end of the month you pay your water bill. So the initial number that was entered was wrong, so Leo will tell you once the correct amount is entered, it will ask you for the network. This time we selected MTN. Now we're going to select the amount. Let's say we want to send you 5 CDs. And then it will give you a summary of the transaction that you're about to perform. Once you're okay, you select A for pay.
Okay.
And then you can select which account that you want to debit to perform the transaction. We'll select the first account.
Okay, we selected the account.
Yeah. Now it will generate a link for you. Now UBA is also an ISO certified company and a PCI DSS certified company, so we pride ourselves on the utmost security standards. So Leo will not allow you to enter your PIN inside the application. So you click on this link and then it will take you to another browser for you to enter your PIN.
Okay, but how many accounts can you have on Leo at the same time?
You can add up to 5 accounts.
Up to 5 accounts. Oh, wow. I see.
You can also add your UBA prepaid card if you have one.
Okay. Yeah. So now let's see customers who are already with UBA who are on your mobile banking or internet banking. How do you set up a PIN for Leo?
So once you try to register or enroll on Leo, Leo will ask you for your account number, your secure pass, or your card ID. Once you enter these, it will take you to another page and then ask you to create your PIN. You can use that PIN both on WhatsApp and on Facebook because it has saved your profile. Right.
Oh, wow. So now, you know that there are a lot of people who would also try to do some things with this new thing. How are you sure of security, or how are you securing this particular Leo that you want customers to log on?
So like page that we showed, Leo will never ask you to enter the PIN inside the messenger. It will always take you to our secure site, which is encrypted and behind several layers of firewall protection. And so you cannot get in there and get the PIN. Leo will always display a masked account number, so nobody can steal your phone and take your chat and see your account number. Leo will always respond quickly. Normally, people might respond after a few minutes. Leo always responds in seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the verification tick is also something that needs to be checked whenever you're engaging Leo. There's only one Leo.
It looks quite easy. I'm going to just try and do that just after here. I hope it's not going to be complicated, because I mean the way you explained it and the way you just went about it, it looks so easy.
Yes.
So for those people who are not on UBA or those who have not opened accounts, is there any number we can call for assistance in case we're faced with challenges with you?
Definitely. We have a 24-hour support center. You can call 0302 634 060 to talk to any of our helpline executives, and they will walk you through what to do with Leo. If you want to try Leo yourself, for Facebook, you can go to m.me/UBA chat banking. If you have a WhatsApp,
m.me/UBA banking.
UBA chat banking.
UBA chat banking.
Right.
Okay.
If you have a WhatsApp line, you can save this number 0577 822 822. Very simple to remember. 822 822.
822 822.
Right.
So you want to try technology. COVID-19 at least has taught us that we must do everything on our technological, or we must be technologically inclined. So you want to try that, because I'm going to do that immediately I leave here. Hans, thank you so much. Hans Xiao is head of digital banking support from UBA. He's been talking about Leo, the new device, the innovative way of banking that has been devised by the UBA for you to bank on WhatsApp and Facebook. We'll take a break.
Thank you for staying with us for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith again. Now, the Ghana Football Association have announced that their 26th ordinary session of Congress will take place on Thursday, the 27th of August. Now, the date was reached following an executive council meeting on Tuesday, that's yesterday. There's more in the following report.
The meeting would not be held in the usual way, where congressmen and women gather at a venue for their deliberations and decision-making due to the coronavirus pandemic. The GFA said in their statement it would be recalled that in a bulletin numbered 1 of 2020 addressed to all companies and the media, the Registrar of Companies, pursuant to the power conferred on her by Section 378(2) of the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, stated that all companies may hold their annual general meetings electronically. Consequently, the Ghana Football Association, having its number of Congress delegates exceeding the limit of 100 persons, will apply and conduct its Congress via online video conferencing, subject to clearance from the Registrar of Companies on August 27, 2020. In compliance with Article 31 of the GFA Statutes 2019, members of GFA will be sent the formal convocation of Congress in a writing accordingly. Congressmen and women are expected to decide on the start date of the next season after 2019-2020 football season was cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Let's do some boxing now. And former Sports Minister Nilante van der Poel has charged Emmanuel the Game Boy Tego to win a world title to have his name in the pantheon of Ghana's great boxers. The Ghanaian and Ryan Garcia were ordered by the WBO to reach an agreement for a final eliminator before the 26th of July. However, Garcia opted to fight Luke Campbell for the WBC interim world belt. And despite this, Nilante insists that he still has an opportunity for a world title fight.
What I am happy about the fact that many a time when you get an opportunity like what he got, and due to circumstances, the fight is unable to come on, the boxer becomes so discouraged, you know, he loses focus and all this. But I'm happy for him because he's very focused and he's still concentrated on what he has to do. What I would tell him now is that it is all about doing what he used to do and improving upon some of the weaknesses some of us have pointed out to him. Because sometimes he becomes a bit too elaborative. Yeah. And he believes it's good. It's good to like former boxers like Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. All good boxers believe they are good. But in you believing you are good, what is important is also know that it's also the noble art of self-defense. So in as much as I will want to excite a crowd, I want to do what I have to do, I must also have the conscious mind that any mistake on my part could give the opponent an opportunity.
Despite a next opponent unknown for Tego, Nielante admonished him to work harder to win a world title. According to him, his nickname, the Game Boy, would be incomplete without a world title belt.
He has one of the fastest hands I've seen in modern boxing. And I want him to use his hands very well. The good thing for a boxer is when your hands are fast, you can frustrate your opponent all the time. As soon as he shows his face, then you move in. As soon as he shows his face, you move in. It becomes you disturb him. And that's what I want him to do. So when I came, I was just standing quietly looking at how he's working on the back as far as his hands are concerned. And I think he's doing his work well. He's doing work. And I know he's under a good tutelage. The gym he's working in now, he's a no-nonsense person. Until he wins the title, he's not Game Boy.
Emmanuel Tego's last fight was against a local opponent, Ismail Ayite, at the Bukom Boxing Arena in July 2019.
And that's how we wrap up Joy News Prime tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. But before we wrap up, though, help us finally come to 80-year woman who had both fingers chopped off as a result of leprosy. Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, who watched the Hotline documentary by award-winning journalist Seth Kwabena entitled Withered Skins, was touched when Dare Pogo gave a chilling account of her life and how she struggles to survive. Dare Pogo lost all her 10 fingers to leprosy. She walks with only her big toes and only has her granddaughter supporting her. Joynews' Upper West Region correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that Dare Pogo has received some goodies from the Vice President. And that's how we wrap up. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. PM Express is up next. Enjoy the rest of our program.